What's up, everybody? It's Biz Coach C. I am live tonight with a very important and special guest, which I cannot wait for her to actually begin talking. So I'm not going to run my mouth too much. This is only going to be a short session because we've got so much to tell you guys that we really cannot do it in just 30 minutes. But I wanted to introduce you to her in just 30 minutes because she has a lot of things that's going on, things that are meaningful, things that are helpful. And you go ahead, that's fine. I cannot wait to introduce you to Miss Stephanie Leandre. So she is joining us tonight as a financial expert, a financial instructor. There's so many amazing things that she's doing. And I'm going to let her talk more about those, and about her organization so that you guys can become more familiar with her and what she's offering. I particularly wanted to introduce her to the Six Secrets group because our group is really, it caters to the minority woman, to the Black and brown woman. And so knowing who we are, knowing what our needs are, especially when it comes to our finances and how we live and the decisions that we make, they weigh so heavily on our ability to gain success, to work toward financial freedom, and to honestly maintain that freedom. And so that was one reason I wanted to invite her. So when I saw her on Facebook, I was like, she's got to be the woman that comes and meets the group. So you guys, without further ado, and this is going to be an interview style so you can learn more about her, I want to introduce to you and let her talk a little bit more about herself and her business before we jump into some questions. Miss Stephanie Leandre. Miss Stephanie, you mind introducing yourself to everyone?
Sure. Good evening, everybody. Thank you all for joining us this evening. My name is Stephanie Leandre. I am the founder and owner of Simply Noble Services. We are a Florida based business. We offer online and mobile notary services as well as personal finance coaching. So, tonight, I know we're going to be focusing more on the personal finance side. I mainly focus on budgeting strategies and saving strategies for my wonderful ladies and families to help you guys get to the path of building wealth and retaining that wealth.
That is awesome. Thank you so much. And I did not know you were based out of Florida.
Yes, I'm in Florida.
All right, all right. So tell us a little bit. Yes, ma'am, and you're exactly correct. So tell us a little bit more about the financial instruction piece. Like, how did you come into being a finance teacher? Like, what was the desire that drove you? How did you end up in that space?
That is a great question. Thank you so much for asking that. So, what got me into the financial coaching aspect of my business is tired of living paycheck to paycheck. That is definitely number one. Um, my husband and I want to say about 9 years ago or so, we had to file for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. And that experience in itself was very, very difficult for me specifically because I've never seen anyone go through that and never had to experience that up until then. So we did fall on some hard times where his hours were cut. We were pregnant with our first child. It was just a lot going on. And we literally went in for just a consultation and walked out signing a contract. So after that whole ordeal happened, I vowed to myself, my unborn child at the time, and my husband that we would never have to go through something like that again. So we decided to work together and figure out where our money leaks were, what were the issues, what were we overspending on, what were we not looking more into. And from being able to do that for us personally and also other family members and friends, I decided to offer that as a service starting this year because a lot of people are like, you should offer it as a service. You're so, you're very kind and patient and you do take your time. But at the same time, I can't be stern. Now, I'm not going to be kind all the way because when it comes to money, you definitely have to have a handle on it and you can't be super nice all the time as a coach.
Right.
So you want to make sure that we get things in check.
I love that. I love that. And I love the fact that you're willing to be real about what's happening with a person in their finances because it is dealing with money is such a serious thing. And when you're dealing with money, you're also talking about people's livelihoods. You're talking about their ability to access resources, their ability to be able to provide for their families, like you said. And so it is a very serious matter to take into consideration. So you can't play nice all the time. And any good coach will tell you that, like, there's some days. I just started another coaching program, and I told these clients, I'm like, there's days you're going to hate me. And I'm gonna just give you this disclaimer before we start this program. There's days you're gonna hate me as a coach, but it's to strengthen what's happening with you on this journey. It's actually to strengthen and help you. And something else that you mentioned that I really liked was just how you actually got into the role in your personal testimony. I think that's super, super powerful. And I can tell that you're very passionate about what you do. And it's like a purpose filled journey for you. So
Yes.
now that you've gotten there and you're on your feet and you made a promise, and you said you made a promise to your unborn child, and that gave me
Mhm.
chills when you said that. Like, I don't know how serious anybody who's watching this, if you've ever made a promise to somebody, can you imagine making a promise to your unborn child that this is not going to be a pathway for them, that you're going to create something different for them and make sure that this never happens again? So it was a very powerful statement when I heard you made it, because it made me think about, not only should we be focusing on our stories, but we need to focus on the stories of the generations that are coming after us. And that kind of leads me into the next question, which is about legacy, right? Legacy finances and legacy wealth. How do you feel about creating a legacy of generational wealth for families? How can Black women do that? And what do you think maybe is the path that we can take to make that happen? And how realistic is that even for the average Black woman, creating legacy and generational wealth?
Creating legacy and generational wealth is so important and it's so crucial, especially in the Black community. As many of us know, and if you don't know, I'm going to tell you now, we are behind. We are
Right.
hundreds of years behind, and it was not by our choice. Unfortunately, it was by how things played out for us with our ancestors. So trying to play catch up is one thing, but there are so many ways that we can start now instead of just saying, "Oh, you know what? It's just going to be, it is what it is. It's just going to be this." That shouldn't be the way we look at things.
Right.
There's many ways to build legacy. First and foremost, for those of us that are starting out, like wanting to be serious about our finances, the first thing you need to do is understand what you have coming in and what you have going out monthly. You're going to hear a lot of personal finance coaches tell you this. What are your numbers? What
Mm,
do you start with? What do you end with? Then in doing so, you will then realize as you're writing out your numbers, which means writing out what your actual pay is. If you have a W-2 job, if you're a contractor, if you are relying, if you're an entrepreneur relying solely on the income from your business, get an estimate of what that number would be on a month-to-month basis, right?
right.
Then also writing out what your outputs are. What are your expenses, fixed, variable, all of that. Have every single number accounted for. Gas, if you do your nails, if you do your hair monthly, if you need miscellaneous funds, if you stop by a gas station and get a bag of chips or a soda or something, write that out. Um, Next, other another thing, once you have those numbers and they're concrete for you and you're comfortable with them, when you're moving into the legacy building part, there are many ways to do that. You can invest in real estate. You can invest in stocks. There is a young lady I follow, Ashley M. Fox is her name.
Oh, I love
She
Ashley
does,
Fox.
oh my God, she does a lot of free
Right.
Zooms, YouTube lives, and literally goes into detail. She's not the type that will just give you an overview and then, oh, buy my program and this and that. She goes into detail. I watched one of her Zooms and already downloaded 5 apps. I downloaded the Fidelity app. I
Yep.
downloaded um, stuff about investing and stuff. And she makes it so simple where even if you have $20, $25, $100 or whatnot, you can start off with wherever you are at right now. And that's so crucial.
Right.
With the legacy building. Um, So the investments I can't really go too much into because I am not a licensed in securities person. I do have people that are that I connect people to, but in order for you to start somewhere in your wealth building journey, in your legacy building journey, you need to understand your numbers. You need to write, and I do this with all my clients. They have access to a spreadsheet that we list your income, your outputs, your debts. You need to know what your worth number is. Are you
Right.
negative or are you positive? You know, you
Right.
need to have those numbers. And I feel like when you see that, it may be a shock to you in the beginning. You may feel sad, you may feel mad. Um, One thing my therapist usually tells me whenever I get frustrated or I'm upset about something, she tells
Mhm.
me, I'm gonna give you 3 minutes. 3 minutes, go ahead and feel everything you need to feel. After that 3 minutes,
Mhm.
let's work on a resolution. What are we gonna do
I
moving
like
forward?
that. I
You
like
know,
that.
and I use that approach with my clients as well because it's like I gave you a budget and you went over. So I'm going to ask you what happened, what did we do wrong, and what can we do better? I'm not going to sit
Mhm.
here and pound you and just make you feel like you're below dirt.
Right.
We are going to address the situation, talk about it, and move forward. So when you have your numbers in place on the wealth building journey, it is going to seem like it's starting off slow in the beginning. You have to understand you can't be a gazelle. You have to take your time. Slow and steady wins the race. The tortoise. You're going to have to be slow in the beginning, and then once you get to a point where you're like, Stephanie, listen, I have this step A, step B, step C in place. I'm ready to go full force into it. I know what my budgeted amount would be for per month if I want to go into investing, if I want to look at other things for me to help build wealth from myself and my future generations, then we go ahead and move on to that. But you have to start small, and then we
Mhm.
can go as fast as you want or as slow as you want.
I love that. I love every single thing you said about generational wealth, and you gave me so much to think about. And I know the people watching this will have a lot to consider also, because something that you pointed out that I love to actually teach in coaching, not even as a finance, but you will hear any coach tell you to know your numbers,
Mm-hmm.
because the fact of the matter is you need a baseline. You don't know which direction to go if you don't know where you're currently housed. So you have to know where you're sitting. And I love that, because if you have the information and you have it written down, recorded, as a matter of fact, like I'm doing business with a contractor right now, and I was talking to him today about we need to write out the receipts, we need to write out the invoices, I need to see it on paper. And it's because I've taken the time to train my mind to say that's what's real to me, when it's actually written down, so I know where we're starting and I know where we can head. Something else that you brought up is, I think, a common struggle with people is when they get something wrong, especially in their finances, they love to stay there and kind of wallow in it. Self pity, whatever it may be, they like to stay there. And I think that what happens is that becomes a place of comfort for them to say, oh, I got it wrong, woe is me, instead of moving forward and correcting the problem, which takes a lot more effort. So I love the fact that because I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to make myself sit in it for 3 minutes. I'm going to give myself just 3 minutes. So tell your therapist that they are reaching far and wide, because I'm getting ready to start doing this in North Carolina. I'm going to start sitting on it for 3 minutes and let myself feel whatever I got to feel, laugh, cry, jump, set, whatever it is. And then I'm going to look toward finding a solution for it. One of the solutions I feel like I need is you in my life right now as a finance coach. Let me just say that, because I need to be doing that exercise with you, as a matter of continued growth, though, right? Like it's that serious. So I love your answers about legacy, building legacy, and creating generational wealth as Black women. So that's the long game, right? Talk to me now about the short game. How do you encourage your clients or women, professional women, to build emergency funds, quick savings that they need to get their hands on, liquid assets? What is your advice on short term emergency? I need it right now.
So when it comes to short-term emergency, I always tell people you need to have at least $500 saved somewhere for something.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say this from a homeowner standpoint and a renter standpoint. As a homeowner, You buy a home, it's beautiful, you furnish your home and you're happy about it. But what happens when the AC breaks or the water heater breaks? I'm telling you this because it's happened to me. Your
Mhm.
refrigerator stopped working. You have a leak and your water
Mhm.
bill is going up. You end up doing an inspection and find out you have mold in your kitchen, which I'm still dealing with the insurance company with that. These are real life situations. As a renter, do you have renter's insurance to cover your stuff if something happens to the home or the apartment that you're in? My mom had a fire in her apartment a couple years ago, but it was actually the apartment above her, but it affected many units, which included hers. Her items were destroyed. There was nothing that was salvageable
Oh.
because not only was it burnt, it was wet because the firefighters
Yep.
were those holes. That water is very strong.
Yeah.
So she lost everything, had to restart over again. If you don't have an emergency fund, how are you going to take care of those things? So, what I always tell people, when you know your numbers, let's say you are a W 2 employee and you know what you're going to get paid biweekly, whether it's salaried or hourly, you know what bills you have to cover at that time. And say you have an extra two, $300, $400, you're not going to go out there and go to the mall and buy a whole bunch of stuff that you weren't planning to or budgeting
Right.
for. I highly suggest start putting money. I create what is called money buckets. I have a car
Mhm.
maintenance bucket. I have stuff for like my kids grow like trees. So I have
Mhm.
a bucket for their clothes and shoes in case I need to buy any during the year. I have some for car registration, car, um, um, just creating different money buckets. And
I
in
love
doing
that.
so, I not only realized how much money I've saved by doing that, but I've also practiced self restraint.
Mm.
And I don't go window shopping. I'm not scrolling through Amazon looking for anything. I'm not doing any of that stuff. So a lot of it is also how much restraint are you willing to put on yourself? How
Right.
much are you willing to cut back on in order to have those buckets and have that money saved? For example, I paid off my car in May of this year,
Mhm.
and first time ever paying off something that I owned that I had the title for. And right when I
Right.
paid off my car, I said, listen, this car is going to need maintenance and I'm going to have to get it done because I don't want it to break down in the middle of the road with me and my kids. And what did
Yeah.
I do? Over the course of 2 months, I budgeted my money in order for me to afford the car maintenance. And over that time, I spent over $2,000 for
Oh my
maintenance.
gosh.
But I got literally, it's like a brand new car that I'm driving. All oils have been changed or flushed out, tires have been changed, brakes, shocks, anything you can think of. Instead of mine is changing like the interior of the car, I had
Right.
that done because I know that in order for me to keep this car long term and not have to go and buy another car and get another set of car payment, I have to invest in my car. So the same thing that you do for I did for my car, I did for my health. If I know I have doctor's
Right.
appointments coming up or labs coming up that I need to set money aside for, you do that. Create buckets. If you're going to start off with $20, $50, wherever you are comfortable with, go ahead and put that. You could put like this 2 weeks you said I put $200 aside and spread it across this bucket, or the
Mhm.
next 2 weeks I'll focus on another set of buckets. I'm not saying every week or every month you need to put money in every single thing, but you need to be mindful of that and be able to do that so when emergencies do happen you have the funds available. Because what happens when you don't have it available? You go to credit cards. If you have
Right.
$1,000 credit card and it's 25% interest, you're paying these people $1,000 plus 25% more, which is $250. You're giving
Right.
away money because when you have $1,000 emergency and use a card, you're not going to pay it off the next month in most cases. Some people can,
Right.
some people can't. So then the interest starts accruing on top of the amount that you've already charged. So I rather you say, Stephanie, listen, I have $1,000 emergency but I only have $750 available for that emergency. So I would say
Mm-hmm.
use the 750, and if you have to use the 250 on the credit card, you can do so. But then we're going to create a game plan to pay that card off, so you don't have to keep paying extra interest every month on it.
I love that. I love that. So I'm hearing a few things from you. One of
Mhm.
them is definitely having an awareness that life is real and you're going to have to prepare for the unforeseen, right?
Yes.
Circumstances. You just have to prepare for that. And then knowing that those preparations must happen, then there has to be some sort of prioritization in your life, and you
Hmm.
have to decide what you need to do versus frivolous spending. Let's be fiscally responsible, ladies and gentlemen that are watching. And then the third thing is money management does not happen properly without discipline. And so we have to discipline ourselves in how we save and in how we spend. And I think if we're able to do that in both facets, like you were talking about, then we stand a better chance. I know what I see a lot of people in our culture doing is definitely running to the means of credit, right? To
Hmm.
cover emergency funds, and then falling into trouble with credit because they didn't have trouble, keeping up with it and producing enough income
Hmm.
to be able to cover those expenses, in addition to the interest that's being added, because
Yes.
you've got to pay, that vendor, like you said. So then you're losing money or really bleeding money. So no matter how much money you're making, you're still losing it just as quickly as you're earning it. And so
Yes.
being very careful about that. This has been so valuable. Like, and we've only spent 23 minutes so far. So you ladies have heard about what it takes for the long game with spending and thinking about legacy and generational wealth and where you would start from there. And she just discussed the short game of emergency funds and having savings and really being prepared for the things that we know but we don't know that's coming at the same time, because that's what emergencies are. We know that something's going to happen, we just don't know what and when. So either way, you need to be prepared for that. If there were any advice that you would end with, Stephanie, with things that a Black woman can do right now, a professional Black woman who's maybe has not a lot of money, but average salary, and is looking towards some type of financial stability, what advice would you give a working class Black woman right now?
The advice that I would give to a working class black woman is, the first thing I need you to do is, when looking at your fixed bills or variable bills, just looking at your spending in general, you need to figure out where your money leaks are. Is it eating out? If that's the case, can you do some meal planning? Can you meal plan at least for 3 days out of the week or 4 days out of the week? So then you're spending less with eating out. If you're door dashing and Uber, we know that they price the hikes. They
Mm-hmm.
hike the prices, sorry. And then there's if you're going to pay a tip to the driver and so on. So that's one thing. Your subscriptions. Another thing, go through your subscriptions and see what can you bundle, what can you remove. I literally, I think a couple weeks ago, went through all my business subscription because I'm on the road to being a full-time entrepreneur. I'm determined to do that in 2026. Thank you. And I'm like,
Yes,
what am I spending for that is either already offered in my CRM or that I really don't use? And I was
for
able to
real.
remove $43. $43 might not seem a lot to the average person, but to me, business
It's
wise,
a
it's a
lot.
lot. That's a
It's a
lot
lot.
for me. And I still have a few that I have to remove, but I'm under contract. So I'm waiting for that contract to finish so I can just end the contract. Next thing, if you, and I gave this idea to a client of mine, if you're a homeowner, you have car insurance, you have homeowners insurance. Have you checked to see if either one offer the same service? Maybe you can bundle it, get a discount. My client saved 30% off by bundling her car insurance with her homeowners insurance. The same thing we did.
Nice.
And she was like, okay, now I have extra money and I can, what should I do? And I said, well, you have debt. We're going to try to throw it at the debt. And
Yeah.
then, we're going to throw some of it at the debt. And then you keep some of it because I do believe in rewarding yourself as well financially. It's not a bad thing.
Right.
I'm not going to tell you, stop getting your hair done, stop getting your nails done, don't get your massages or your facials. You should reward yourself, but be mindful of how much you're spending.
Right.
Another thing I can tell the average woman is, don't be ashamed to reach out for help if you need help. There are many people like myself who my DMs are always open. I'm not going to give you a full consultation in my DMs, but I do
Right.
have the opportunity for you and I to sit and have a coffee chat and just go into a little bit of detail of what the issues are. Reach out for help. Also, what do you have around the house that you could sell? What do you have around the house that you don't use? I have done
Amen.
that plenty of times. Let me tell you guys, if you've watched previous videos that I've made, I would take my kids' old clothes, especially my youngest, because I have two boys, and I would sell it back to. There's a store called Once Upon a Child here in Florida. I'm not sure if they're
Oh,
all
yeah,
over.
we love Once Upon a Child in North Carolina.
Resell.
Mm-hmm.
You get money back. You're not going to get exactly what you paid for the items, but you get something back. And I take that money and I put it in the kids' money bucket. So when I need to buy clothes for them in the future, I have that money already available. So there are so many steps
Nice.
you can take today. Your subscriptions, your eating out. Look at both your debit card and your credit card statements, because I know people were like, "Oh, this is my bank account. This is all that I spend and use." No, no, no. Look at the
No,
credit
it's
card,
not.
the afterpays, the Klarnas, all of that. And I just learned, I think last Sunday, some client that did my hair, she was like, "Oh yeah, you can after I'm not afterpay. Cash App has an option for you to borrow money from them." I said, "Like credit?" She
They
was like, "Yeah."
do.
And I did not know that. And I was like,
They
"Can you
just
start
started
doing
that.
that?"
Mm-hmm. Like they just started that. And you can pay it back like in four installments with no, I think
Yeah.
it's no interest if you do it in four installments, but yeah.
Yeah, but she wasn't doing it for installments. That was the problem. Because I'm
Oh,
looking at her statements and I'm just like, oh my God, this is like another
oh,
credit card. What are you
yep.
doing?
Oh my
So,
gosh.
honestly, you guys, just starting with those simple, small steps today will see a difference. I have a client who was able to bundle something as simple as bundling her. She has a phone line with her and her husband, and her dad has one too. They bundled it together, saved them $50 a month. She was able to
Love it.
bundle her subscriptions, saving over 30% than what she was paying. They actually put into practice what I was instructing them, or what I call my instructions suggestions, because I will never tell you what to do, because you are a grown
Mm-hmm.
adult. Even though you come to me for help, I give you the ideas and the suggestions. You do with it what you wish. So,
Right.
starting off with those small steps today, you will see the difference um, later on. I know for one thing, us women, especially after a long day of work, we will order Uber or DoorDash for these kids
Mm-hmm.
or for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where the majority, the number one cause of, oh, I don't have any money, I don't know where my money went.
Eating out. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because like you said, we're so busy. Like, and you're too exhausted to cook, and everybody's got to eat something. So we're ordering. Like we're
Yep.
literally ordering as professional women, and we do it a lot. I hope y'all are taking all of this advice and writing it down, because this is free tonight. But what I want her to do, or what I want you to end with, though, Stephanie, is because you told them the truth. You really need help. You need guidance on a path like this, and particularly the women that are in the Six Secrets group, because one thing that I'm always preaching to you guys about is the name of this group is Six Secrets to Six Figures. Like, I have a desire to see everyone in this group reach a six-figure salary. Whether you do that or not, you still have to manage your money well, and you have a financial coach right here on the line in front of you that is more than capable of helping guide you through that journey to the proper management of your funds so that you can continue to build. So, Miss Stephanie, for anybody who wants to work with you, become a client with you, or even partner with you in some efforts, how can they reach you? How can they schedule consults? How can someone get you on board as their coach?
So you can go to my website. Everything is on my website, simplynobleservices.com. And on my website, there in the top banner, you'll see book an appointment. and you'll see my contact information, my email, my phone number. Everything is on the website. It's like a one-stop shop. All the links to all my social media platforms are there. If you want, you can sign up for my newsletter. I do send out 3 newsletters a week about different topics. I share tips when it comes to budgeting and savings. Also estate planning, because I'm very, very focused on that as well, making sure you have your money in a row, but also have your documents in a row as well. And I do have a lot of free resources. I have free ebooks. We have a financial planning checklist available. It's just so many things on my website. Again, it's simplynobleservices.com. And you can book an appointment with me. You can book a coffee chat with me if you want to just kind of fill things out to see if I'm a fit for you or if you're a fit for me. You can always call me. I do have my number listed, my email, and I'm on all my platforms all day, every day, and I do respond to text messages. I do respond to calls as well.
Nice. All right. Y'all have heard it straight from our girl, Miss Stephanie Leandre, tonight. How to contact her, some basics about long term finances, short term, and emergency funds, and things that you can do right now to improve the state of your finances. And you also learned how to contact her. Her website, I've actually dropped that in the comments, so y'all will have that link. Go to the website, book the appointments, grab the free resources to get started, but I am expecting you all to invest in yourselves. So do the research. If she's the right coach for you, then you need to be speaking with her like yesterday. Thank you so much, Miss Stephanie, for sharing your time and your expertise with us tonight. I appreciate you so much. Sharing all of your knowledge, or at least just a tad bit of your knowledge. Like I still want to ask you about bills and debt and so much other stuff and estate planning, but I'm going to let you ladies do that on your own. So schedule those appointments with Stephanie. And thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you.
It is my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, ma'am. You have a good night and have a good evening,
You
everybody.
too.
Thanks for watching.
Bye, everybody.